Hey everyone! Today, we're gonna jump back in time to France. And I mean way back. To hear some incredible, true stories about courage. We're gonna meet a few people who were so brave that their actions started this amazing chain reaction, one that literally changed the world. So let me ask you something. What does it actually mean to be brave? It's not just about superheroes and capes, right? Sometimes, the absolutely bravest thing a person can do is just to stand up for what they believe in, especially when it's scary. And the people we're about to meet, yeah, they were experts at that. All right, so picture this. It's the 1500s in France. All across Europe, big new ideas are starting to pop up. And this was a time when thinking differently, especially about God and the church, could get you in some serious, serious trouble. I mean, we're talking real danger here. And this is the cool part, even when it was super risky, a few amazing people decided to stand up anyway. And their bravery wasn't just a one-time thing. Nope. It was more like the first link in a chain, inspiring the next person, who then inspired the next, to also be courageous. So, you ready to see this chain of courage? First, we've got the professor and the book. Then, the wolf becomes a lamb. I can't wait to tell you about that one. After that, the knight who wouldn't bend, and we'll finish with the story of the secret cave church. Let's do this. So every chain has to start somewhere, right? Our first link is a super smart, kind, and older professor from Paris. His name was Jacques Lefevre, and he's the one who lit the very first spark. Okay, so Lefebvre absolutely loved learning, and he especially loved studying the Bible. And one day, while he was reading it really carefully, he found something that felt totally new and exciting, and honestly pretty different from what the main church was telling everybody back then. And this was a huge discovery. So what was this mind-blowing idea? Well, it all boiled down to this. Lefebvre realized that God's love isn't something you can earn, like getting a good grade for doing good things. Instead, it was a totally free gift. All you had to do was believe. For the people back then, this idea was a complete game changer. Lefebvre was so excited about this, he just couldn't keep it a secret. He had to share it. So he started teaching this incredible idea to his students at the university. And that single act of courage, that was the spark. The spark that was about to start a huge fire of change all over France. Which brings us to our next link in the chain. Let's meet William Farel. Because if Professor Lefebvre was the spark, William Farel, well, he was the fire. Now, what's wild about Farel is that at first he was totally against these new ideas. He was one of Lefebvre's students, but he was a fierce, passionate defender of the old church. He even said that he would get angry like a furious wolf if he heard anyone even question the church leaders. But this is where the story takes a huge turn. Farel started to really listen to what his professor was teaching about God's love being a gift, and it completely changed his heart. He went from being that wolf who wanted to attack anyone who disagreed with him to being a peaceful but passionate lamb who became a fearless preacher for the very ideas he used to hate. Talk about a total 180. All right, our next link proves that this courage wasn't just found in university classrooms. It was in castles, too. Let's meet Louis de Berquin, a knight who showed everyone what it means to have the courage of your convictions. Seriously, this guy had it all. He was a noble knight from a famous family, he was brilliant, respected, and get this, he was even friends with the King of France. But just like Lefebvre, he started reading the Bible for himself and was blown away by what he found. And he decided to give up his safe, comfortable life to become a powerful voice for change. Now, this was incredibly dangerous. Powerful people who hated these new ideas tried everything to shut him up. They threw him in prison, not once, not twice, but 3 times. Each time, his friend the king got him out, but his enemies just wouldn't quit. In the end, his enemies won, and Berquin was sentenced to die. But on the day it happened, the crowd was just stunned. Berquin wasn't afraid. He wasn't sad. Witnesses said his face was just filled with peace and joy. They whispered that he looked like someone sitting quietly in a temple, thinking about beautiful, holy things. And right here, this is where you can actually see the chain of courage getting stronger. Seeing Berquin's incredible bravery in the face of death gave other people strength. His followers were so inspired, they said, "We're ready to face that too." His courage was literally contagious. And that courage leads us to our final link today, a quiet, super smart student named John Calvin, who saw what was happening and got ready to carry that torch of courage for a whole new generation. Calvin was studying in Paris when he saw one of these brave believers being executed. And just like the crowd watching Berquin, he was completely amazed by the look of total peace on the man's face. Calvin just had to know, how could they be so joyful when something so awful was happening to them? He needed to find out their secret. Well, soon enough, Calvin started believing the same things. And sure enough, the authorities came to arrest him too. But his friends thought fast. Some of them stalled the officers at the front door, while others lowered Calvin out of a window in a big basket of laundry. He then grabbed a farmer's tool, dressed up like a worker, and snuck right out of the city. Phew, talk about a close call. But even being on the run didn't stop him. To keep everyone safe, Calvin and his group of followers found the perfect secret meeting place, a hidden cave. There, tucked away from danger, they could read the Bible together and encourage each other to stay brave. So let's step back and look at this whole amazing story. From a professor's quiet study to a secret church in a cave, this chain of courage just kept growing, link by powerful link. When you put it all together, you see how everyone played their part, right? Lefevre was the teacher who found the spark. Farel was the preacher who caught that spark and turned it into a roaring fire. Berquin, the knight, showed everyone that you could be brave no matter who you are. And then Calvin, the student, picked up that torch to light the way for everyone who came after. And because they all dared to be brave, because they refused to be silenced, their amazing ideas about faith and love and freedom didn't just fade away. They lived on, creating this incredible legacy of hope that we can still learn from today. None of them probably knew they were changing history. They just made a choice to be brave, right where they were. It really makes you think, doesn't it? Their chain of courage changed the world. What will yours do?